Back to the most troubled province at the moment, and remember, after saying on this show earlier this week that he would resign, Supra Mahumapelo is still Premier on special leave. A lot of legal issues now around his acting replacement, and of course the ANC itself says that the two main bodies, the National Working Committee and the National Executive Committee, are looking at this. They're doing everything in their power to stabilize the province. Well, let's wrap up the week and look at the options here. I'm now joined by the SABC's political editor, Sophie Mokoena. Thanks for being with us, Sophie.
Good evening, Francis.
Can we start with, I mean, it's been incredible and very fast moving since Monday. So can we start with him saying he was going to resign and then he didn't, and what happened since then?
Let's start with Monday. You have the ANC National Working Committee meeting. The National Working Committee meeting takes a decision to request the officials of the ANC to engage the Premier on the current problems in the province. We are told the request was that perhaps they must ask the Premier to step down. Indeed, the President of the ANC does just that. He had talks with the Premier. Apparently, they did agree that something must happen, and it is for that reason on Tuesday, on the SABC, on Channel 404, Supra Mahumapelo gave us a clear indication that on Wednesday he was going to resign. Indeed, that was supposed to happen because later in the evening, even the provincial PEC, Provincial Executive Committee, issued a statement accepting the fact that the Premier was going to resign. All of a sudden, later, the same night, the report that the media briefing where this announcement was going to be made, it's not going to happen anymore. The reason being, after there was an agreement in terms of perhaps who should be the Premier after Supra Mahumapelo's resignation, there were some structures or other people or interest parties or stakeholders who were not happy about the candidate of Mr. Tselapedi. And therefore, that led to a standoff again. The names were already submitted to the IEC for gazetting, and also the judge was on standby on Wednesday to do the, the proper legal processes. But because of that political standoff, the whole thing was put on hold.
Sure.
So Supra had no choice but to say, okay, I can't go now. We have to iron out this standoff. We don't agree on the name. So currently, what they are trying to do is to resolve the issue of stakeholders. You talk about the alliance component, those members of the ANC who are aggrieved, those who are in the legislature who are also aggrieved, and those who are members of the PEC who are supporting Supra Mahumapelo. So these people must now agree. And I think what's likely to happen going forward is that on Monday, Supra Mahumapelo will present and his PEC, because he's still the chair of the province, they will submit 3 names to the ANC leadership, that those names will be taken to the NEC of the ANC. That's expected to perhaps convene in 2 weeks' time, or towards end of the month. And that NEC, because it's the responsibility of the NEC to decide on the 3 names that are submitted by the province. Perhaps then we can find closure.
So this is incredible insight into the behind the scenes, and it sounds like maybe it's not a case, as it first seemed, of the province defying the ANC national leadership.
I can't say it's not defying or it's defying, because you have a situation where the faction of Supra Mahumapelo has got a name. You have other stakeholders like your alliance component and those who are aggrieved within the ANC who don't agree on the name. So what happens? Nothing happens. And therefore, there's a standoff. So, yeah, there is a problem. You can't deny the fact that there's a problem.
Do you get the sense that Supra Mahumapelo is willing to step down as soon as this name is agreed upon?
He is going to step down. Not willing, he is going to step down. I think finally, if the matter is not resolved before end of the week or so, in between the NEC meeting, definitely a decision will be taken at the NEC, and he will step down.
And you have government also looking at a province where services are being affected by politics. Could there be a situation where the North West is placed under administration?
Already, you know very well, the Department of Health has been placed under administration, I'm told, and other departments. We have to verify. You know very well that the president appointed a task team led by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. This is government to go and get first-hand information. They presented a report during the cabinet meeting on Wednesday. They say it's a preliminary report. They must still present a final report. And I won't be surprised if the whole province is put under administration. And it did happen at some point in time. You know that Limpopo was once put under administration, and this might happen.
And everybody's looking at the implications for 2019. What do you think is on the President Cyril Ramaphosa's mind? What's his options, his role here?
I think he's a very troubled man right now. With all the shenanigans in the ANC, it looks like the Nazareth factions didn't demobilize. And people are still mobilizing because, you know, within the ANC, it looks like it's not about serving people anymore. It's about individual interest. And people are already jostling for power for the next conference or perhaps the General Council, because midterm, you are going to have an ANC General Council where they will take stock of what has transpired since the conference, and you can make changes there because you have the ANC structures. I think the main problem with the ANC is that the Nazareth factions didn't demobilize. Until such time, you demobilize the two factions, and they agree that it's all about the ANC, and they work together. Those who are aggrieved accept the defeat, and those who have won are not triumphalists. You will see progress within the ANC. And unfortunately, they don't have time. They don't have time. Elections are around the corner. Secondly, you could have done it during Mandela's time. You could have perhaps done it during Beggie's time. Right now, you can't, because we have very strong opposition parties in this country, particularly the breakaway party like EFF, people who understand the goings within the ANC. And therefore, you cannot have a situation where the ANC is so divided. I mean, many provinces, we've just saw a package from the Eastern Cape. Even there are challenges.
So when this tussle over the next premier is exposed, will it again show that we still have the division? At the Nazareth time, it was between Cyril Ramaphosa's faction, Jacob Zuma's faction. Is it still that stark?
You know, the downfall of every leader, it's people around him. As a leader, you have a view. You feel you want to do this in the interest of people that you are leading, or in this case, as the president of the ANC membership, but also the country. You have to put the country first. But you'll find that people around you might have different ideas. The same with perhaps the person you were contesting the position with. Maybe she or he has moved on, he has accepted the defeat, but it's the people who were around that particular person who may continue with whatever they were doing. And it is for that reason the ANC finds itself in this situation. I am pretty sure Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will not allow people to use her name to divide the ANC. Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, I know, as a senior politician, but unfortunately you can't control people's ambitions and their interests. The same with President Ramaphosa. He's a diplomat, he's a unifier. You know, even though Malema would question that, I don't think he can really like to see a situation where the ANC is defeated 2019 or it's in this state. But unfortunately, it depends on people around you.
And are you making links between what's going on in the North West and the Eastern Cape and other provinces?
It's the same. I mean, you know, before the Nazareth conference, Eastern Cape had its conference, and it was very, very divided. You know that there was violence, and it looks like the forces haven't demobilized even there. Those who lost and those who won. It's an issue of trying to regroup for those who have lost, and it's the issue of perhaps being triumphalist. It is for that reason I'm saying, if you have those who don't want to accept defeat, who are regrouping and mobilizing again to recapture, and then on the other hand, you have those who are triumphalist. You can't unite the party.
Final question, because we've run out of time, but what does this mean for the people of North West? Because I believe there's another health strike plan now.
Yes, on Wednesday we are told that Mudau is going to embark on a shutdown. What does that shutdown mean? It's a problem, because you'd recall for the Defence Force to come in and assist in hospitals, it's because doctors were not allowed. And now if you talk about shutdown, what is shutdown? I mean, people are going to be scared to go to the hospitals and clinics, ordinary people who are sick. Secondly, the doctors themselves, their lives will be in danger. They might be scared, the nurses. So when you talk about shutdown, it's a big question, and that question must be directed at how perhaps they can unpack the strike. How is it going to be done? Will it affect the lives of ordinary people? Because you know very well, in the same way in terms of journalism, we have ethics. In the health sector, it's even more stronger. You take an oath as a nurse, as a doctor. Therefore, it's all about the lives of people first, not your interests first. So I don't know how are they going to balance that with perhaps the expectation that the strike must have an impact.
We've already seen so many people impacted. Thank you for your insight and analysis, political editor Sophie Mokoena.